G'day there guys, Connie here again, and we're back with some more stories from Reddit. As always, if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and also the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Alrighty, let's get right into it. Alrighty, this one was written on Relationship Advice. It's written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, I think my boyfriend is lying about being in medical school. I, 26 female, have been dating Sam, 31 male, for about 4 months now. We met online and he told me he was going to be a doctor. The first 2 months were fine, but the last 2 months I've started to feel like he hasn't been honest about several aspects of his life, the biggest being him in medical school. He used to live overseas and was in medical school there for a short time. I'm pretty sure this is true because I've seen pictures. That was about 5 years ago. The school that he says he goes to is fairly prestigious, and I have another friend, Jason, who graduated with a medical degree from the same school. Jason has told me how difficult the program was, and how he never had time for anything besides studying. Jason also said that nobody in his program worked. Sam works 40 hours a week in an office, and I've never once seen him study. He always seems to have a completely open schedule to hang out all the time, which I thought was odd. I asked him why he's never is studying, and he said he doesn't need to. I was always a good test taker and never studied a lot in college, but I still feel like medical school is a whole different ballgame. I've spent a lot of time at Sam's house and have never seen a single document suggesting he was in school. Textbooks, assignments, nothing. He also has let me use both of his computers, and I've never seen anything on his history or anything suggesting anything to do with school. I don't know about you guys, but when I was in school, I had papers all over my house, and my computer always had school stuff on it. A few weeks ago we were at dinner, and I can't remember how this was brought up, but he mentioned that the human ear has 30-something bones in it. I know from high school biology that it has 3 bones, and I said he was wrong. He said something to the effect of, I'm a medical student, how are you going to tell me I'm wrong? So I googled it right in front of him and showed him that I was correct, and he seemed mad. I then asked him how many bones were in the human body, and he was wrong again. I feel like this is pretty basic stuff a medical student would know, right? Even I know that. So this week, I've been feeling suspicious, so I decided to prod. I asked him if I could come sit in on one of his classes, and he said his school doesn't do that. Fine. I asked if we could meet up on campus for lunch, and he said I couldn't come because you need a student ID to get on campus due to COVID. Fine. I asked to see his student ID, and he said he lost it. Then I asked him if he could send me a selfie of him in his hospital uniform, and he said he doesn't like the way he looks in a white coat. He sends me other selfies all the time. I feel like at this point he's lying, but some of my friends say I'm being paranoid. If he is lying, how should I prove it? Edit, he's not actually my boyfriend, he's just someone I've been seeing frequently. I just wrote that for the ease of the title. I felt like it was worth noting that these past 6 weeks have been summer vacation, so he hasn't needed to be in class. He said he would get a new student ID when classes start. Yeah, definitely suspicious. I don't believe this guy's going to medical school. Let's see what the comments think. Honey, you need to walk away. The red flags are waving in the breeze, loudly. If he will lie about this, there's no limit to what he will lie about. Does he even work where he says he does? She says, I've been to his office job and met his co-workers, so yes, I know he works 40 hours in an office. Let me tell you this from the perspective of someone who caught a liar. Once you catch them in a lie this big, the trust is just gone. You're always going to have it in the back of your mind that he's lying, even when he's telling the truth. Lying about being in medical school is a big lie. Of course he's lying, of course he is. Wow, that's all kind of manipulation and crazy crap. You already know this, don't you? I'm trying to be kind, but why haven't you called him out, really? Why on earth would you buy into this deceit? I'm guessing you're afraid that you'd find out the truth and then be confronted with whether or not you need to end the relationship, and you don't want to end the relationship. I get it, but this is so ridiculous that I'm worried for you. He has to have a student ID. Does he have a parking sticker? I'm guessing not, and he's going to give you some stupid excuse as to why not. Your friends say you're being paranoid. Lol, are they really friends? Nope, and absolutely not. If this guy's in medical school, then I'm not an ER nurse. Granted, retired. A 10-year-old knows how many bones are in the human ear. Don't minimize your suspicions. You are right. You are smart. He is lying. I'm not even buying the overseas medical story based on his knowledge of the human body. He sounds manipulative. Please be careful. Opie replies, the first month we dated I only saw him 2 or 3 times, and the last month has been summer vacation, so no classes. I didn't really think about it. I only started really getting suspicious when we had the conversation about ear bones, which was 3 weeks ago. Now I've looked back and realised how suspicious it all sounds. It isn't even that suspicious, it's just lying, and he gets angry when you proved him wrong? Girl, you've only been dating this lunatic for a short time. Trust me, he's not in any prestigious medical school. He's not in any medical school. I doubt he's even in college given the lack of any supportive evidence. If he's lying about this, and I know he is, what else is he lying about? You have to have a completed bachelor's degree, usually in the sciences at an accredited university, and then pass the MSAT to be considered for med school, and that's not even a guarantee. I have a couple of MD friends, sent one a screenshot and she laughed so hard, said if he's telling the truth, she doesn't want him working on her patients. He's lying. I'm sorry you're going through this, but better to find out the truth. There's a couple ways. Ask him what he got on his MSAT, the medical college admissions test. It is required for enrollment into any accredited medical school. It does include a lot of science questions on it, so that is why most doctors have a bachelor's in the science area. Ask him what classes he's taking. It should be a lot of anatomy, biology, chemistry, histology. Most first years study on average 4 to 8 hours a day. My friend is a biology and chemistry genius, and she studied 3 to 4 hours daily her first year. It got worse the second year. Medicine is one of the hardest degrees in the world. If it was that easy, we'd all be MDs. I'm so sorry you're going through this, but better to know the truth. Listen to your gut. Not for nothing, but my MD friend also mentioned that someone who goes to these extremes doesn't just have low self-esteem. Usually when they're caught, they play the I have low self-esteem or I just wanted you to like me or I was in medical school and I was planning on returning. It's a little scarier than that, so be careful. Sometimes these people really suffer from significant mental illness. You've only dated him for 4 months and they are quite good at hiding it. Please be careful. Good luck. Yeah, good point. Okay, onto an update 5 days later. So the response was overwhelming, and I'm glad I got confirmation on my suspicions because I felt like I was going crazy. I broke up with him over FaceTime and didn't tell him the real reason, just gave a vague explanation about not being ready to date anybody. There are other things in addition to my posts that I'm pretty sure he was also lying about. I didn't bring any of his lies up because honestly, I feel slightly scared of a person who would lie about things like that. He didn't take it very well and sent me a barrage of texts trying to guilt trip me and also was borderline harassing me into meeting up with him. Apparently he bought me a present and was trying to force me to take it. Overall, just really gaslighty and manipulative. I eventually just stopped responding and I haven't heard anything in a few days. Hopefully never have to see or speak to him again. Thanks to you all for your responses. Going forward, I'll be a lot more cautious about who I believe. And some final comments. I didn't see your original post, but I'm an actual medical student and that guy is 100% lying about being in medical school. You have next to no free time outside of class and studying. There's no way the dude is working 40 hours and is a good test taker to get through school. It's just not possible. The level of detail and volume of work is so massive that it requires daily practice. Sounds like the guy was in school, flunked out, and hasn't accepted it yet. Lamau, same. I'm a mess student and just saw both of her posts. Not a chance in hell that dude was working 40 hours a week and attending. From my own perspective, people who lie this excessively, what's the end goal? He's working in an office. He's not hiding that. Why even pretend to be a med student when if she did stay for the next 2 to 5 years, this lie will eventually be exposed? Is it like a narcissist thing? It's better she cut it off without calling out his lies. No idea what he could have escalated to. Yeah, you never know if people like this are going to get dangerous if you call them out on things like this. Anyway, that's it for that story. As always, let me know your thoughts down below, and we'll move on to the next. Alrighty, this next one's from Relationships. It was written by user Wedding Day, and it's titled, I wasn't invited to a friend and co-worker's wedding, but other friends were. Unsure of how to have her stop talking to me about her big day. I met my friend Amanda at work over 3 years ago. She was new to the team and I had the opportunity to help train her. We clicked instantly and became really good friends pretty fast. There was never any doubt in my mind that we weren't close friends. Although her schedule was slightly different than mine, she gets off work an hour or two after I do, we always made plans and met up for shopping, drinks, hanging out, and double dates with our boyfriends. Obviously, we have mutual friends we work with, and we all try to have dinner together every once in a while, or go out to a bar or club. I was very happy for Amanda when she got engaged to her longtime high school sweetheart just over a year ago. They're absolutely perfect for one another, and when she showed me the ring, I was floored with how pretty it is. I did ask when the wedding would be, and she said late in the summer of 2017. It's coming up in August. Yeah, this is an old post. She has spoken to me almost daily about her wedding planning process, which I'm totally fine with. One day while we were hanging out, she proactively told me that she wasn't inviting close friends or co-workers to the ceremony. She wanted a small and intimate wedding with her and her soon-to-be husband's family, and then everyone would be invited to the reception after. This seemed like a really good idea, and I said I liked that a lot. However, after she sent out invitations, 3 mutual friends and co-workers Snapchatted their invitations, and it's not just a reception-only invitation. The snaps weren't sent directly to me, but were on their story, and I just so happened to see them while clicking through stories. I was hurt that I didn't receive an invitation, even if only to the reception, but I didn't bother bringing it up to Amanda. Clearly we weren't as close of friends as I thought, and she had already made it clear to me that she had no plans of inviting friends and co-workers. However, since she had invited some of the girls we worked with, I figured it was just a roundabout way of her politely telling me I wasn't invited while trying to spare my feelings. However, she still talks to me daily about her wedding that's coming up in just a few months, and it makes me feel uncomfortable. She constantly talks about everything. Recently she talked my ear off during our lunch break about her dress, and then showed me all of the pictures she took in it before sending it off to get altered. It's a very pretty dress, but was a harsh reminder that I won't get to be there to see her in it or celebrate her marriage. I'm perfectly polite and engaged in our conversations when she speaks to me about her wedding, but it's the only topic that ever comes up, and any attempt to change it up somehow comes straight back to her big day. I get it, she's excited and she's allowed that, but it stings a lot. Obviously, I've distanced myself from hanging out with her as much because her thoughts on our friendship are or were drastically different than mine. How can I politely tell her to stop talking to me about it without hurting her feelings or having it turn nasty? And if it does turn nasty, how should I even begin to handle it? I don't think Amanda would make things nasty, she's very nice, but I don't want her to feel like I'm attacking her in any way and then make a mountain out of a molehill. Any advice is greatly appreciated. Let's go straight to the comments. I think your best bet is to ask her to cut the wedding chatter, though frame it politely, because she's being an ass. Say, Amanda, I know you're really excited about your wedding, but it feels really weird to talk about it all the time when I'm not a guest, and then offer up a change of subject. Opie replies, thank you for this suggestion, I really like the way this sounds, and I can definitely see myself saying this very politely, and hopefully she doesn't take it the wrong way. If she doesn't get the point then, well, I'll try and be very firm about changing the subject. I think you should just keep your distance. If she's talking only about herself, then it's not really a great friendship anyway. She says, you have a very valid point. I've already begun distancing myself since the invitation thing, and her talking to me has lessened over time, and she really only talks to me when it's obvious I'm on break or not busy at work. I haven't hung out with her much aside from the occasional coffee on a day off, but I plan on cutting that out as well. It sounds either really oblivious or just plain cruel on her part, and a little one-sided. I mean, if it's literally all you talk about, then that also means the conversation is never about you, when it should go both ways in any friendship. I would scale back communications with her and build stronger relationships with others at work and in life who are willing for more give and take. She sounds a bit narcissistic, to be honest, even though I'm sure she's excited. Maybe you can say something to the effect of, Amanda, while I'm very excited for your big day, perhaps it would be better for you to share this excitement with your girlfriends and or bridesmaids rather than me. She replies, To be honest, I don't know which it is. I know even the nicest of people can be needlessly cruel, but I don't want to jump to assumptions about it either. I definitely understand that it's very one-sided, and I've already begun to distance myself. I'm hoping that after the wedding she'll kinda just stop talking to me, but I'll definitely try and cut myself out of the conversation much sooner. Perhaps I can say my break or lunch is over and then hide in the bathroom, lol. I really like your idea on how to word it. It's firm, but polite. I'll definitely keep this one in mind. Thank you. Honestly, all it takes is one statement. That sounds great, but I don't really need to know since I wasn't invited. I don't think you need to be subtle here. If there was an error or oversight on her part, she'll be mortified. If she really did intend to exclude you and gets offended by your not subtle jab, then that tells you all you need to know. Are you sure it wasn't a mistake or lost invitation if she's talking to you about it a lot? You said you felt hurt, but you never asked her directly. Ask her directly. She says, I don't think it's a mistake or a lost invitation, honestly, especially with how it was framed to me originally, and the fact she's never asked for my address. Although we hung out a lot outside of work, it was never at either of our places, so I don't have her address either. We usually just choose a place to meet up after she got off work. I imagine if she meant to send me one, she would have asked for my address. Okay, Opie makes a couple edits. I never expected this to receive as many comments and suggestions as it has. I've read every single comment thus far, and I've gained a lot of insight to the situation, and how I should likely move forward. I will definitely speak up when Amanda tries to talk to me next. I will advise her that while I am happy for her, I have no interest in chatting about or listening to her talk about a wedding and celebration that I wasn't invited to. If she tries to continue, I'll deflect it as politely or humorously as possible. If she freaks out, well, I'll handle that to the best of my ability. I'm seeing a lot of repeat comments and just want to reiterate a small fact. She's never asked for my address, nor does she know where I live, and vice versa. Although we hung out a lot, it was never at each other's place. She was living with her parents until she and her fiancé bought a house recently, so she wasn't comfortable having people over. And I live with several roommates in a shared home with my boyfriend, so I never invite people over. If she did intend to invite me, I imagine she would have asked for my address or given it to me by hand. Neither of these things happened, and with her first telling me she had no intention of inviting a particular group I fit into, I'm pretty confident that she never intended to invite me from the get-go. With that said, I plan on politely nudging her to stop when she approaches me next. I'll update this when that happens. Thank you all so much for your advice. Now for that update, 4 days later. Hello everyone. I meant to update this yesterday when I got off work, but I forgot. So here's a slightly late update on what transpired after I received a lot of great feedback and suggestions. I took my second break a little later than usual, hoping that Amanda wouldn't notice. Well, she did, and she hopped up from her desk and followed me into the break room. She said hello, asked me how I was doing for once, and before I had fully sat down to relax, began chatting about her wedding again. I waited a moment, then politely cut in with a smile and said, Amanda, I really appreciate that you want to share all of this with me, but this talk makes me slightly uncomfortable. She looked really confused and asked me why. I was honest and told her that it makes me upset that all it seems she wants to talk to me about is her wedding, and I wasn't invited. She kinda laughed it off and said, but I didn't invite anyone from work, so it's not just you. So, that comment alone made it very clear that I was intentionally excluded from her invitation list. Yes, she has every right to choose who she wants to invite to her wedding, but there's a right way and a wrong way to go about it. Telling me she was excluding a specific group that includes me, then inviting other people and lying to me about it at that point is not the right way to go about it. A simple, hey, I know we're friends and all, but I made the decision not to invite you to my wedding for X reason, would have totally been okay, and I would have respected that decision 100%. I kinda gave her a weird look and said, but you invited friend 1, 2, and 3. I saw it on their Snapchat stories a while back, unless that was a mistake. I have never seen a woman turn around so fast and bolt out of a room. She looked positively angry. I imagine she went to find all 3 of these girls and tell them that I found out. Either way, I got to enjoy the last few minutes of my break in peace. She didn't attempt to approach me the rest of the day, and avoided me as we both walked the same path to leave the building and get to the general area where we'd parked our cars. Safe to say, I've lost a few friends, but I'm not heartbroken about it. I'm just glad there wasn't any drama involved in my saying anything, and I'm pretty sure all 4 of them will be avoiding me from here on out. Thank you everyone who took the time to read my post and gave me some advice, both good and bad. I appreciate it all. One comment says, I know this is already an update, but I'm low-key dying to know if she's ever tried to approach you since then, her or her other friends. She says, I wasn't planning on logging into this account anymore, but was curious to see if this had gained any more comments. She hasn't tried to approach me at all, neither have the other girls. It's Wednesday and usually by now we all would have spoken in some way. I proactively removed all of them from my social media accounts, so I didn't give them the chance to remove me first. Doesn't sound like the kind of friends you want in the first place. Another comment says, am I missing something? What benefit did Amanda get out of not inviting OP but talking to her about it? Like, what's the actual point of lying here? Some people really like to talk at other people, and the other person's interest isn't important. They get to rehash every detail out loud, and that's all they want. It's better than talking to just yourself. The fact that Opie had feelings about being excluded didn't matter much to them, but she didn't want to be confronted with the fact that maybe she did a not-so-nice thing. Unsure what Amanda's long-term plan was going to be, it's very likely that one of the other ladies who were invited might have posted pictures during the wedding, or shown them afterwards, or even accidentally bring it up in conversation. I don't think she had a long-term plan. People that play high school games like that rarely think there will be a life after the petty play, let alone consequences. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, high school drama, in an office building with 25-year-olds. Anyway guys, that's it for that story, and that's it from me today. Hope you enjoyed that one, thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.